We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrificed?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are sex people! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hey, Trent.
Hi, Parth.
Good to see you.
Likewise, you're looking well. We have a film podcast.
You're looking well as well. Trent, this intro's got a hard deadline. We're recording at 10:42 a.m., and Trent has informed me that he needs to be out by 11 o'clock a.m. So let's make this short, sweet, and snappy. What have you been eating most recently?
It's funny because most of the time with our intros, outros, we aren't in an immediate rush or with a deadline, and I would say they take maximum like 15 or 16 minutes. So it's almost like we don't even have to rush.
Our intros can go on for 20 minutes. And also we usually have sometimes up to like 30 minutes of chit-chat before and 10 minutes of chit-chat after.
And this was the first time ever there was less than 10 seconds of chit-chat. I said, "What's up?" And then you said, "We should probably record."
Well, hey, it takes us time.
Facts of life. I haven't eaten anything yet today. I will immediately following this call. But last night, I had 2 slices of pizza. What about you?
Plain? Pepperoni?
Oh, settle down. I had a pesto slice and a Hawaiian slice.
Wow. Was there pineapple on that pizza?
Pineapple and ham and hot honey. Because I will eat a cheese slice, but like 99 out of 100 times, there's going to be a specialty slice that appeals to me a whole lot more. And
I
also,
agree.
one other tip, or not tip about pizza, just something I do. If you're not going over to the spices, the bottles of spices, and getting your money's worth by putting a little bit of each spice on there, you're just paying for cheese and sauce.
I agree.
Because you're paying for those spices.
I'm always partial to a peppers and onion slice to, maybe there's some mushroom on there. That could be fun.
Yeah, at our friend's house, we were trying to decide on group pizza toppings, and I believe you suggested, hey guys, peppers and onions and mushrooms, and everyone looked at you like you'd kicked their dog.
Yeah, but we got it, and everyone liked it, so just putting
we
that
did?
out there. Yes, we did.
Or didn't you disguise it as like, oh god, well, let's get a veggie pizza? You just had to say
Well,
that.
I mean, that is a veggie pizza.
It's true, but when you said that and everyone agreed, but when you spelled out the individual veggies that would be on there, everyone hated you.
I think people, and this is maybe a hot take, people don't know what's good for them. And so when you bring up, if you lay out all the ingredients, people suddenly start having all these opinions about, like, I don't like that, and sometimes there is, like, I don't like olives, or I don't like, there is a thing.
Yeah, I personally
legitimate.
don't really like mushrooms. That probably would have been the turnoff for me.
But I think most people are fine with most things, but suddenly when you give them the option to say no, they suddenly feel like they need to have an opinion about it. And now maybe that sounds like I'm an authoritarian guy, but we're in an authoritarian regime now, everybody. I'm making the pizza decisions for everybody. This is Trump's America, okay?
Yeah, now more than ever.
Yeah, R.I.P. Kimmel.
Yeah, now more than ever do we need to, like, before it was a joke inspired by fear, but now it's like, it's real.
Yeah, so I always feel like the thing is, people say, well, why don't we just get a plain pizza? And I have nothing against a plain pizza, but my feeling personally is, if I'm going to get a plain pizza, I would rather just get a margarita pizza, because that's just better. And if we're not going to get a margarita pizza, why, like, you need vegetables. Like, it'll taste good, or you should get something with protein on it, like buffalo chicken, or...
Well, thank you.
Sausage, pepper, onion. Like, you can do any variety of things, but just pizza is just bread and sauce and cheese, which, don't get me wrong, can taste good, tastes better as a margarita, but you will feel more fulfilled if you have some kind of vegetable on it.
My issue, I feel like when most people ordering pizzas, the conversation starts, okay, we'll get a cheese and we'll get a pepperoni. Is that good for everyone? And it's like, here's the thing about cheese and pepperoni. Those are the exact same thing with a few slices of pepperoni on one of the pizzas. So let's get something wildly different to both of those. Which is why my crazy pitch was buffalo chicken at this party. It seems like we both got our way. It seems like we're both opinionated enough. What have you been eating?
Thank you for that segue. I had a banana this morning with some chai. I'm all alone in my apartment right now. My good friend Sophia, she's gone every day because she works in person. But my roommate Tom has also decided to go home this weekend. While I bring up Tom, I have beef to bring up. You don't realize until you move out how many people just live, like our age, just live on like ramen packets and just like general pastas.
I feel like I'm growing out of that and trying to get better because sometimes in the morning I'll like eat a clementine and you can, and like you're like tired and you just woke up and you're on the subway and you feel like shit and you eat literally one slice of a clementine and the nutrients go straight to your brain and you're like, look, I feel good now.
Exactly.
I just ate something healthy and as a result I feel good.
And speaking of feeling good, let's cue that intro.
Nothing makes me feel better.
Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience working on the picture. This week we've got our concluding chapter.
We're finishing up our interview with Naked Gun cinematographer Brandon Trost. He's worked on such films. It's one of our favorite films here on the podcast, Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. This is the End. He directed An American Pickle.
Would you say he's a, quote, cool guy?
Yes. Cool guy, nice guy, smart guy, good at shooting movies guy. All good. All good stuff.
All good stuff. And we really get into the end. We get into some Pop Star. We bring up my favorite line, Flatliner shot by Jan de Bont. He explains how that was Bill Hader improv.
What's his character's name? Skippy?
Maybe it's something like that. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, we finish up our Naked Gun talk. We talk a little bit about his other work. And yeah, I was a fan of this interview.
Not only was I previously a fan of, without even knowing, our future friend Brandon Trost probably shot these movies. I was a fan before, and now I'll look back with a whole new appreciation. Because I'll be like, we spent 45 minutes to an hour. Call it an hour over these 3 parts with that guy, and it was pretty cool, and he's pretty cool, and it makes us not as cool as him, but it gives us like a few cool points, admittedly.
It's true.
Each interview is making us like 2 points cooler. That's the goal here. That's what we're doing. It's not for you, the listener, to learn about film if you're interested in going into industry.
It's all about the points.
It's the cool points for Parth and me.
Yeah.
And to sort of try to build a credit that if you see Parth and I out in public, you'll high-five us, you'll buy us beer, paparazzi might start taking pics.
Yeah, and we'll say no. We'll say stop. No, really, that's not necessary. But you should keep doing it.
Oh, it'd be so annoying if people did that. But what wasn't annoying was concluding our conversation with DP Brandon Trost.
Well done.
Thanks. Which I don't want to annoy you, the listener, anymore by delaying.
Sure. I mean, if I was a listener, I'd be pretty fucking annoyed that the interview that we've been saying is so great hasn't already started.
I'd be annoyed if the 2 co-hosts sort of wasted my time by stalling.
Right.
And like spreading out.
What was that word? Stalling?
Yeah, like spacing out their words more and adding more space in between them in order to take up more time. I would absolutely hate that.
Cue the interview. You can't tell because I just moved into a new apartment, but I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. So I'm sure you know which question I'm going to ask, but can you talk about the clearly inspired by Mission Impossible Fallout gag, which I hear was even longer in an earlier cut? Like there was more to it. Could you talk about that?
It was, yeah. So, it was Fallout also was even though it's a more modern movie, was very much a visual reference for us for the movie, just in general.
Rob Hardy.
Yeah, but that sequence in particular, obviously, we just kind of stole it immediately, directly. I mean, that was our most extensive set build, to do. And we had to build it in it was like layers of an onion, as you can see. It's like first you've got the hospital that falls down, then you've got like a set wall that elevates, which was real. Like we had like a real set wall that rolled up to reveal the next room. And then there's a little VFX blend to kind of get that to dissolve into what was just actually the soundstage. Like it then goes into just what is the soundstage there. And that's when the OSHA guys show up. But originally there was it kept going from, did you get all that? And then like the next person comes in, it's like, did you get all that? And then like the next person comes in to arrest everybody. So it went from the OSHA people to ice cream workers, like ice cream truck drivers or something like that. And then it went from there to construction workers that like burst in through the walls, and then everyone started fighting. It was like a whole big giant like melee of a fight. And it was funny, but again, to Akiva's willingness to just, cut things down to the bone, I think it plays way better just as the 1, 2, 3 that we ended up doing in the movie, but it's just, I think that's also just it, is that you have to try these things. It's like you have to go through this process just to find what is going to work ultimately. I think that's kind of that's just sort of what we do to put these together. And if you don't have that additional flexibility, oftentimes you can get stuck. It really is like having a good pressure release valve for like a joke being funny or not funny enough. I mean, and I remember even later in the cuts, there was some really funny stuff that we all loved, but Keeve cut them out toward the end specifically because they were sort of disrupting the kind of like narrative flow of just like where we wanted to be from a tension standpoint, particularly like when we're in the arena at the end and the whole fight's happening and, Pam's up there trying to infiltrate the bad guy upstairs while Liam's trying to dig the device out of the balls, and there's all these different things happening. And then, Ed's getting kids drunk, which is also very funny. Yeah, there's a couple things that were like great. Like, I mean, stuff that was so funny it could have been in like the trailer, but it's like just by the time he had lifted it, it just flowed so much better. It just made sense. It's just having that ability to be able to do that, I think, is also key.
The last scene we wanted to ask about was another one of my biggest laughs, and it's the snowman sequence. And I actually heard that scene was almost cut and reshot. If you could speak on that at all, if that's true. I
don't know about being reshot. At least I don't know if that part wasn't in my awareness, but it was wanted to be cut. I mean, to be honest, the studio wanted to cut it. They didn't want us to make it because it's kind of like its own mini movie. It was expensive. It was like 2 days out of our schedule to do that whole sequence. But if you read it like on the script, it could just get lifted out of the movie completely, and like the movie's still the same. It's the same story. So I think that was part of the reason for it not to be in there. But to Keeve's credit, like, it was one of his favorite scenes too, and he thought like, well, if I can't do this, what's the point of even doing the movie? At one point, he was like, I'm going to leave. At one point, he threatened to leave the movie. I think he might have, and then it came back, thankfully. And I would say like it's the one scene that probably feels the most like, I don't know, Lonely Island in the whole.
I was going to say it's like the movie stops to sort of get like a little pop star in there or something, or like Hot Rod in there.
Absolutely, which I, of course, am a huge fan of and love. And it's so much its own movie within a movie. It is just like its own little world. It was the middle of summer, and we had to dress this whole house to make it look like it was in the snow. I mean, just like technically, it was that part was difficult, but it was very just fun to do. I mean, my key grip, Chuck Arnold, was he's very much into the occult, and he helped us like do that little circle that they're sitting in for the seance to try to like make it all very perfect, which was pretty great. But it's so bonkers, it just goes so far off the rails so quickly. I mean, the puppet was fantastic. We had Jim Henson Company make the puppet, and there was a woman inside the snowman, this puppeteer, and she couldn't see where she was going. She had to wear these like glasses that had like a little monitor inside of it, and she had a witness cam to kind of like see what she was doing. One of my favorite moments is when the snowman freaks out and starts chasing them in the house, with the gun. There's like an actual like almost video game style POV shot where you've got like the gun in the hand in front, and that was my Steadicam operator, BJ McDonnell. Actually, he was like, it was his idea, I think, to pitch it. He was like, hey, can I put the snow glove on with the gun, and he like just held it out, and with a steady cam, he just held his post back, and he just did it, all with his same rig. It's very funny. Somewhere I've got a clip of just from my phone, just watching him chase them throughout the house. It was really funny, but it was really, we built that sequence. It was lots of boarding. We did lots of storyboards for that sequence in particular. Like we had to be very precise about it, because again, it was a lot of work, even for 2 days, just to try to build that out. So we had to be very precise about how we put it together. But it turned out really well. I'm happy with how it looks too. I used a stupid Promist filter on it to make it look like an 80s like chewing gum commercial, basically. It worked.
As we start to wrap up, is there a scene that was the hardest in the totality of making the movie to make, and a scene that you're most proud of, and they can be the same or different?
I think the hardest scene to make was it was actually some additional photography too. We added it kind of late in the game. There's a whole sequence at the end of the film when he comes out of the arena where he starts fighting everybody when they're kind of like these sort of zombies that kind of want to kill everybody, and it's this like slow-mo sequence where he's using gun clips to like kick and like knock everybody down. That was a scene that wasn't originally in the film, and it was a big piece. It was, I should say, like a version of that was in the script at one point, but we had to like lift a bunch of stuff because we couldn't afford to do anything when we were making the movie as usual. And then it came back ultimately because it turned out we needed it to be there. But that scene, it took us like 3 days to shoot just that one action sequence, and it's out of step with the rest of the movie too. And we did that on purpose. It doesn't have that kind of quality of the sort of earlier kind of early 90s action sequences. That one, we wanted to have fun with it and make it feel a little more modern. It could feel more like John Wick. It could feel more like what we would see Liam Neeson do in one of his movies today. It was just like a fun little nod for a moment into that style. But it was intense. We spent a long time building it. We had a special fight choreographer come in to do it. This guy, Wayne Dalglish, who was very good. He does lots of stuff for James Gunn. Like he does fights for he did all the fights for, I think, Guardians 3 and Superman as well. So he builds all these fight sequences, and we had him come and do the Naked Gun version of that style. And we built all these like crazy speed ramps and big like camera moves, and it's all very precision and precise work that we had to put together. And it was just, I would say it was difficult, but for no other reason than it was just like technically ambitious, and it was just challenging. And it was really, but rewarding because it came out really well. It's really funny. Just that whole sequence where he's punching everyone's balls, like punching bags and stuff like that, and the whole thing. It's all very highly choreographed, and there's big gags too happening in the middle of like this action sequence. So that was all very. It was tough, but man, it turned out so good. I'm really stoked with how it turned out. I like this movie so much. It's like I feel like there's so much about every scene that I really kind of like in this movie. I don't know. It's really simple. It's really kind of small. There's like this small moment where Pam's kind of she's like up in the booth with the bad guy, and she pulls out her gun, and she's going to go kill she's just going to you think she's going to try to shoot the guy, and he has all of her bullets and then pulls like the shotgun out of her wig and all that stuff. But the lead up to that I really liked. Like we were kind of going for this sort of like almost Brian De Palma vibe. I remember joking that it felt like Snake Eyes, kind of like that like Nicolas Cage movie. But just the way that kind of came together. We did lots of like dollies with zooms and stuff like that as she's like grabbing the gun out of her purse and moving up toward him. It was like it's like kind of classic suspense building stuff that I thought turned out really nice. But yeah, I'm sure there's something else that I'm also very proud of that I'm forgetting right now. I really like the scene a lot where he walks into the apartment room, into the apartment building, and he picks up the knife and the sign says, "Pick me up." And he like records his voice into the recorder that says, "Record his voice." Like there's something very, I don't know, precisely specific about that I thought just like came together really well. It's just funny. It's funny that I'm more interested in like the smaller bits that I think came together in a way that I think just functioned really well.
Can you talk about something big or small that you liked that got cut from the movie?
There's not a lot that was just like straight cut out of the movie. It's like there's different moments of scenes that got cut out. By and large, I don't think we like lost a lot of really like any real sequences. It was all like, it's just like trimming within what we did. It's more like just missing certain jokes. And again, I'll miss it just because like we couldn't get licensing on certain things like that. The whole like when Pam was doing the what's it called? You know, the one she was like doing like the jazz scat thing on stage.
Yep.
Which was her, by the way. She did that. Like, I mean, she pre-recorded it, but like she would do it live every single take, and it sounded fantastic. But there were some bits of that were pretty fantastic that we couldn't use. Like she had a whole run where she was basically she was doing a Super Mario Brothers theme. Like it was like basically the second level from the first Super Mario Brothers when they're like under the under the underworld theme. She was just like vocalizing that entire theme of Super Mario. It was fantastic, but Nintendo wouldn't give us the licensing or whatever, so we had to cut the joke. You know, it's like stuff like that's pretty great. I mean, there's just different alts. You know, it's like when like Liam Neeson says he has like has an old Bon Jovi shirt to like to basically wipe his semen up. Basically, I think we did a version where it was a Steely Dan shirt, and I thought that was funny. I don't know. It's just different. There's just different takes on different jokes that are fun. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of the ones that I had seen drift away eventually kind of came back. So we're kind of happy to see where it landed. I think we kind of found all the good spots.
Before we let you go and give the Big Kahuna final question, I wanted to ask about another Lonely Island film, which is one of my favorites and one of Trent's favorites, which is Popstar, and specifically the Jan de Bont Flatliners joke,
who you mentioned during this interview.
Yeah, has really stuck with me, and you know that's sort of become part of my vernacular. Could you just talk about shooting that movie and what that experience was like?
I can, yeah. It's funny. Like that was very much that was all Bill Hader too. Like
I'm sure
Hader is such a cinephile. Like I shot the pilot for Barry also with him, so I got to
fuck too. That's a good pilot.
But, he is like he's like Tarantino level cinephile. Like it's crazy what he also has like a photographic memory. So that was very much just that's such a Bill joke. I mean, shooting Popstar couldn't be more different from Naked Gun. I mean, we're making a mockumentary, and our mandate with that mockumentary was to just basically rip off those like Justin Bieber documentaries that were kind of out at the time. It's like kind of a flashier version of just a normal documentary with really high production value, elevated like concert footage, of all the songs. So it was, it was like 3 cameras running all the time. We shot like that is a movie where we shot so much that is not in the movie. Because we shot it like a documentary, we would do so much improv and so many different gags, so many alts. I think they had it was a chore for them to cut that movie, because when you got footage like that, and you're cutting it like a doc, you can kind of steer it in so many different directions that you want it to be, that it took them a minute to kind of get that figured out. But it was really, it was crazy. It was fun. Shooting the concerts was fantastic. I mean, that's a testament to Andy and his ability. I mean, at one point, I think we shot all those concert sequences in the Forum in LA. And so for 2 weeks, we were just blasting out like song after song. I think we were doing 2 or 3 songs a day in full too. I mean, when you see them in the movie, there's only like segments of them, but like they were fully choreographed, fully, we had lighting design for every single song. So we shot every single one start to finish. So that also exists out there too. It was just, again, it was kind of like anything goes. Like if we needed to pick something up, sometimes we would shoot something on an iPhone just because we needed to get Andy saying something to help bridge a gap from one story point to the next. And they did a lot of that in post too. When they needed to like fix something, they could just throw him in like a baseball cap and he could do like a little monologue into like an iPhone, and like you could find ways to like solve different narrative stitches that you'd want to make. It was just like trying to grab as much as possible while it was all happening. It was such a loose way to do it from a photography standpoint. I mean, it's like Naked Gun's so like precise and specific with like the tone and style we want. And I would say so is Popstar, because it's exactly what we wanted it to be. It's just like a different approach to putting it together. It was wild though, man. I love Popstar too. It's one of my favorite movies I've done.
Bill Hader was on the A24 podcast with Ari Aster, and they made a post about it because the two of them in the course of an hour referenced like 250 films, and they're like, here's every film that the two of them referenced in this hour-long conversation.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds very accurate.
So our Big Kahuna final question, embrace for impact here. It's, what's the last great film you've watched? And the only criteria is it can't just be good, it has to be great, but it can be a rewatch or a first time watch.
And recent as well.
It can be anything. Well, it has to be the last great film you watched. Like, you had to have watched it recently, but it
could be from
recently.
it could be from
Sure.
50 years ago.
Last great film. I'm trying to think of the last time I even went to the theater. That's how lame is that? It's crazy. I do have tickets to go see Weapons here in a little bit. I haven't seen that yet. I'm excited to check that out.
It's
Good movie.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
Is
pretty
it?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Saw it twice. It's awesome.
I know it's probably just because I watched it with my kids recently, but The Iron Giant, man. The Iron Giant.
Oh yeah, Brad Bird.
The Iron Giant is one of my favorite movies. It's just like, also speaking of just efficient storytelling, it's a movie that's not that long, but like I feel like somehow finds a way to be so just wonderfully engaging and also emotional, especially with something that's a robot, something that you normally don't have any kind of feelings or attachments for. I think that movie is just like uniquely special in a lot of ways. And animated too, but I think it doesn't, I don't think it matters. I think it's like filmmaking. It's just telling a good story. And it's such a excellent example of that, I would say. Anyway, there's others out there, of course, but that's just top of mind because it's semi-recent.
Great. Trent, you want to close us out?
Thank you so much to our guest, DP Brandon Trost. He's been the cinematographer behind such films as The Interview, Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, Night Bitch, and of course our film for this week, The Naked Gun. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Parth, we got 6 minutes left. Do you think we're gonna make it?
I think we'll
Only
slip
got
right
5
in under
minutes
the
to
wire.
save the world.
What did you think of that interview, Trent?
Thought it was great. I thought the first part was good. I
Sure.
thought the second part was great, and I thought the third part was fucking legendary.
Legend, wait for it, dairy. Little him reference for you.
Wow, I've watched that show 5 times, and hearing that acronym spoken aloud is so jarring.
Oh, that's what I watched that show in high school with my mom. We would always call it him.
This is like in The Office when Kevin's like, less word, why use more word when less word do trick? And it's like we're still
I
talking
was just
about what
hoping to be compared
means.
to Kevin Malone today. Yeah,
Parth,
thanks so.
Parth, you watching the paper? Just real quick.
I'm not.
You should watch it.
I don't care at all, and I
Parth-
also don't have Peacock.
Okay, well, we can talk offline about that. As someone who's been using a friend of a friend of a friend's Peacock for years, let me see if I can hook you up.
Oh, please. I mean, I would actually use that because I was using a friend's Peacock account, but then I had to upgrade my PS4 to my PS5, and that info did not travel over.
No.
So I was deep in an Office rewatch and had to stop around season 5.
Well, maybe a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
No,
I know. But
you
I
had
wanted to get to where Michael left.
Yeah, you
That's
could have
that's a
milked
good
it
episode.
a little bit more. Because I wanted to hate I wanted to hate watch it. It's not half bad.
Yeah?
Not half bad. Pretty
They got
alright.
that Donald Gleason in it.
Parth, I like him. I didn't
So
know
do I.
I didn't know I liked him. Now I do.
Yeah, thank you so much to Brandon Trost for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time, really appreciate all of your interesting info. And Trent, do we have, is the pod ending? Or like, are we getting kimmeled? Or are we moving on? Are we moving forward?
Whether or not we get Kimmel's this week, and now each week, it like whenever Sunday morning at 5 a.m. you see an episode released, like that's a new blessing where we haven't been Kimmeled yet. And
Have we been kimmeled or Colbert'd, I suppose?
Parth does his very best to edit out stupid things I say from these interviews to prevent us from getting Kimmeled, but like, dude's tired. He's working hard. He might miss one. And all it takes is one little slip up.
One little push. Little Joker reference there. Trent, what are we doing next week?
Next week we'll be covering The Toxic Avenger with both of its
Unrated.
editors. Yes, unrated.
With both editors, James Thomas and Brett Bachman. It was a very fun time. A movie that by the time this interview comes out is likely out of theaters, but hopefully you can stream it. Because Trent, as we mentioned before we did the interview, Trent somehow caught the actual last screening of the movie available.
Yes, it was the last day it was screened. It was a limited release movie, so there was, I think, only a few days or a week or something. But it was the last day it was screening, and it was an 11:10 p.m. Showtime. And the next day in New York City, a great hub of film culture, there was absolutely zero opportunity to see the movie. So in this time zone, I feel as though me and my other theater goers we saw the last
final ones.
The final ones.
But that should not reflect on the quality of the movie. I think that the movie is very fun and a good time.
Parth and I both enjoyed the movie a great deal. If you weren't able to catch the movie on the big screen, I'm sure by the time these are coming out,
hopefully it'll be coming out. If you already caught it, you can listen to the interview, and by the time this comes out, it should be out on streaming. So
yeah, streaming or for rental.
And you'll be able to rent it on any of your major streaming platforms, but that's sort of like our podcast, which is available to listen on all your major podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, etc. It's really everywhere. And you can also check us out on our social media on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, more like medias, because we're on 2.
Yeah.
And just go ahead and where you're listening to us, there will be some sort of rating system. And that's where you're going to want to go ahead and give us 5 stars. We'll take 4.
But 5 is preferable. With a review, if possible.
Yeah, exactly. Parth took the words out of my mouth. You should put words in your own mouth by typing them.
Well done.
About us.
Yes.
And be like, I love Parth. He's the best co-host ever.
Yeah.
Trent, I could take it or leave it.
Exactly.
If they replaced him with a sack of flour, who would really notice?
That's 100% right, Trent. I'm glad you brought that up so that I didn't have to.
I'm just reading it right now. It's like username S Alexis. You wouldn't.
That's funny.
Who? Like what?
It just sounds a lot like my good friend and roommate Sophia Alexis. It's just interesting.
Is she still upset about what happened on the Gone Girl discussion episode? Like, I didn't write the movie.
All right,
I didn't
guys.
write the movie.
Let's right the wrong of this episode going on too long, and
Parth,
see you guys next week.
We're 1 minute over.
I know.
I'm gonna get fired.
No. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.